Wrestling fans, this week's episode is so stacked, it might just break the internet. We've got bombshell announcements, jaw-dropping returns, and a debate that's guaranteed to set social media on fire.
First up, Roman Reigns' future is in question. WWE's 2025 plans for the Tribal Chief could change the entire landscape of pro wrestling. Are we about to witness the end of an era?
Meanwhile, Netflix has dropped a major WWE bombshell, and trust me, the fallout could shake up how you watch wrestling forever. We got all the juicy details.
Oh, and did we just see CM Punk join the Bloodline? Survivor Series WarGames just got a whole lot spicier, and we're breaking down all the drama leading up to the most anticipated match of the year so far.
And if that's not enough, Toni Storm has quit pro wrestling in AEW, or has she? We're unpacking the shocking storyline twist that has everybody talking.
Plus our big debate. 12 months of CM Punk back in WWE. Has it been a triumphant return or the flop of the century? Spoiler alert, you're not ready for this one.
So don't go anywhere. Hit subscribe, grab a chair, and get ready for the hottest takes in pro wrestling. This is the burning truth, and we're just getting started.
Hey, it's Scott Barrett, and you're back listening to The Burning Truth. And as always, I'm joined by the man whose beard has more storylines than AEW's mid-card. It's Matt Burns, everybody!
Hello. And yes, it does seem like it's... the beard's got no plot holes either.
It's looking good, mate. It's looking good. No plot holes. No AEW-style plot holes in Matt Burns' beard. How are you, Matt? You having a good week?
I'm all good, I'm good. Been very, very busy this week. Been doing a bit of, helping out some other businesses, helping out some friends and everything as well.
Yeah, I hear you've been out supporting the effort to get as many people into the next UKWA show as possible, going out and helping the guys leafleting, that's right.
Yeah, why not? Got to put the effort in,
Get those steps in, mate.
Get the steps in. Oh, definitely. But at the same time, how are you doing, Scott?
How am I? I'm good, Not a bad week. Got a new manager at United, Amarim. Just watched his first game. We drew 1-1 because you can change the manager, but you can't change the players in a week, unfortunately. What else is going on? Had a pretty good week, actually. We obviously got on YouTube this week to do the AEW Full Gear predictions. How did we do?
One of us did better than the other.
Am I at an all-time low by any chance?
Oh dear.
Two PLEs in, and I'm struggling, guys. I'm going to have to get every match at Survivor Series and every match at
World's End,
and every match at Saturday Night's Main Event right to even get close to catching up.
All I'll say to you...
I'm going to say this first. I think 2024 is almost like a... It's almost like a preview. I've just been testing things out. I'm in training because 2025 I'm going to hit it really hard.
Well, to be honest, you actually got one of them where I got it absolutely wrong and you got it on the AEW. But at the same time, I understood your method of madness. I understood it.
Yeah,
but
I tried my best,
what I did find interesting about it was the fact that with the predictions, we only did 9 matches. There's about 12, 13 in total.
It's the same story for AEW every time, though, mate. Just WWE try and keep it at 5 matches per PLE. And we've got AEW putting 13, 14 on. There's just too much. I must admit, by the time I got halfway through watching the highlights, I was bored. And that was just the highlights. So God knows how you felt watching the entire show. I think... I tell you, though, that's probably why. I mean, it won't be the only reason, but it'll be one of the reasons that wrestlers keep coming away from AEW. And we've seen loads of workers now leaving AEW. And I suppose he's a good example, actually, because I saw this week that former AEW star Kylie Ray had joined WWE's ID program, the Independent Development Program. Is that right?
That does sound right, but it also sounds like something else as well.
Yeah, so how does it sound like?
It sounds like something like, that we normally do articles on and everything, so...
we should probably move on to our first segment, which is...
The News!
So just sit tight, don't blow a fuse, because now it's time for this week's news.
This just in, the news!
Yeah, so what I was talking about before I was rudely interrupted then was was Kylie Ray has joined the WWE's ID program, the Independent Development, and it was announced at Freelance Wrestling on the 21st of November. And Gabe Sapolsky, so who's a key figure in the program, was the Ring of Honor booker for years, used to be Paul Heyman's right-hand man in ECW. He's really praised Ray, and he's called her the best worker on the indies. So she's now under that banner. I wonder whether we're going to see her. Based on who they've signed so far for this ID program, I imagine Kylie Ray would be in WWE faster than any of them.
Most likely, because she does seem to have quite a bit of a good experience. Well known, well liked, is quite loved, quite popular.
I like her, I do. I say this every week on the NXT review, but I think NXT has the strongest women's division in all of pro wrestling. And I think she would slot in there really well, really quickly. There's some ladies on that roster right now who are absolutely tearing it up, and I think she'd fit in really well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like see her along the likes of Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Zarya, Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez. Some absolutely phenomenal matches potentially in there.
Without a shadow of a doubt, and that's the thing. NXT has. If anyone turns around and says it's a development brand, it isn't. I'm sorry. Anymore. It's not. It's its own entity, and it has been showcasing top tier talent and making it work gloriously.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
But with that all being said,
do you know what? Actually, before we move on, let me tell you about this. Just because it's just come to mind, there's one of the ladies on NXT, and the finish, right? I can't Sol Rucker, her name is, right? And her finish is sensational, right? If you get a chance, go and watch. I think it's called the Soul Crusher. I think.
No, I already know what it's called. It's the Soul Snatcher. Soul Snatcher.
Oh, give that a YouTube, guys, because that is incredible. What a finish! Sorry, Matt Beans, I interrupted you.
No. Reasonable reason.
Soul snatching is worth
definitely. But with that, as we've talked about the NXT being such good and praise, we have actually got to talk about something that could be seen as a bit of a. It might sound bad, but it's not as bad as you think. But we'll just get to it. WWE Network closing in the UK, which unfortunately the WWE Network is set to shut down in the UK, with all content transitioning exclusively to the Peacock streaming platform starting in 2025. This move mirrors...
Is that true? I wasn't sure that it was streaming on Peacock, actually. I'm wondering whether... Because I know that we're getting Raw, SmackDown and NXT are moving over to Netflix, right?
Yes.
And I believe the PLEs, etc., are going to go to Netflix as well. With it, I think that's incorrect. I think a limited amount of the
content,
the back content, back catalogue, not everything, but a limited amount is going to be available on Netflix. So everything in the UK going to Netflix, which is similar to in the US where everything's gone to
I was just about to say this move mirrors similar changes in the US and other territories and everything. But the point being is, with it has actually got its own little WWE area on the Netflix for the history, which I've actually looked into this a little bit, so that's how I know just that little bit more in regards to it. But it may not be like its own entity, like the exclusive stuff and everything, like how they had Camp and everything. But I'm actually wondering about that one myself, so we'll have to see how it goes on a bit further on. But with Peacock at the moment, that's not in the UK at the moment, to what I know of.
Yeah, just what we're doing with Netflix is similar to what WWE's done with Peacock in the US.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes, but the difference is, the only difference is, some of the content isn't going to act like Raw. That's not going to be on Peacock. That's actually going to be on Netflix.
But in the UK, everything's on Netflix.
Everything's transitioning over to Netflix.
But not the entire back catalogue, just some of it.
Yeah, which is where a lot of people are building their I'm pretty much glad that they've got their own variation of the WWE Network with VHS tapes.
Ah, right, okay. So the tape trading community are coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, they are striking back, as some might say. But anyway,
any other news on Netflix?
Oh, of course. Netflix make a major WWE announcement, which is they just made an exclusive new WWE series set to debut in 2025, promising fresh original content for wrestling fans, with more details expected soon.
Oh, wow! So that's good news. A new show for Netflix.
Yeah, it is. So it's a bit more content. So the only question is, we just need to find out is what it's going to be. Is it going to be another brand? Is it going to be in like another series? What is it going to be?
Yeah, I wonder whether we're going to get something similar to we used to get the WWE Experience back in the day.
Oh yeah,
which was like a highlight and wrap up package show. I wonder whether we'll get that. And as I'm saying that, I'm just thinking on the fly. But then, I mean, these days we tend to use Netflix for that. The WWE Netflix site does a really good job of recapping, etc. So actually, I wonder what this show might be. But it is good that they've announced it as fresh, original content.
Yeah,
which is nice to see.
Who knows? It could even be an upgrade for WWE Speed or its own entity. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. And I've got some news actually that almost relates to Netflix. I suppose it does relate to Netflix, really. So WWE's reportedly making big changes to Roman Reigns' character from 2025 onwards, and that hints at a potential shift in his status as, he's a shift at his status within the Bloodline and on the SmackDown brand. So the plan is right now that as of January, Roman Reigns will move across and be seen more on Monday Night Raw than he will on Friday Night SmackDown. And I wonder whether that is a brand split issue, or whether we'll be getting a shake-up of things in January, or whether this is Netflix maybe using some of their pull to make sure the biggest stars are on their show. I think what we found a few years ago, you'll remember this, Matt Burns, is when WWE signed their deal with Fox for SmackDown.
Yeah,
that was the biggest deal in wrestling television history at the time. And overnight, SmackDown went from being the B show to the A show.
Yeah, I remember exactly, because they had the whole new stage and everything as well.
And I wonder if we're getting a reversion here. So Monday Night Raw is going to Netflix. Does Monday Night Raw become the A show again? Because although we've just said everybody in the UK is getting everything on Netflix, in the US, only on Monday Night Raw is going to Netflix over there. So I wonder whether this is a Netflix are pulling some strings to make sure they get the best wrestlers on their show.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and that could be the case now. What I do find, it could be the case now, but that's we'll have to wait and see. If, it's neither here nor there. The thing is, that could happen, but at the same time, it's a big deal with Netflix with this, because it's going to be seen across, and I feel as though this is going to pull in more fans that aren't aware of the content because of Netflix, of how they push out their content on the actual app itself.
I absolutely agree, mate. I couldn't agree more.
But
and from Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, definitely from Roman Reigns. With the Bloodline news, because he's a little bit of a segue, because we've got a WWE Hall of Famer open to joining the Bloodline. Now, who would that be? None other than Rikishi has expressed his interest in joining the Bloodline story, suggesting his inclusion could add even more intrigue to the ongoing family saga involving Roman Reigns and the Usos. Now the question is he going to be joining the Bloodline, or is he going to be feeling Usy?
I don't think we're going to actually see Rikishi on SmackDown in the Bloodline or Raw. But I mean, it's nice to think about. Rikishi being the fifth man would be excellent. But as we spoiled at the top of this show, I think we all know that the best in the world is going to be at WarGames. So, what a moment this week. I tell you what really caught my eye this week, Matt Burns. I don't know if he did yours, moving on swiftly. But Toni Storm shocked fans by announcing that she's quit pro wrestling. So we're unsure at this point if that's a storyline twist or real life. Her character transformation continues to make waves, as I think she's just reinventing herself time after time after time.
She seems to be developing that little, that recreation of herself, like almost like a bit of a Madonna. And on top of that, Tony Khan himself has already said on media talks, heading up to the AEW pay-per-views and everything, don't don't listen to every word. She could be saying it's the end of the timeless Tony Storm, not Tony Storm as a whole.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. I think it'd be a shame if we didn't have her in AEW any longer. And I think, for me, she's one of the few shining lights within AEW for me. I've really enjoyed Toni Storm's work that I have seen over time. And then just to go back to this whole brand split thing with WWE, I know that it feels like we're bouncing around this WWE brand split issue, but further reports suggest that WWE's brand split may take a backseat as the company moves towards a more fluid roster, so that will allow stars to appear on both Raw and SmackDown more frequently. Now, I'm unsure if this is just temporarily until we reach January. I just spoke about a potential brand split maybe as we go into the new shows being on the new networks, or potentially whether this will be the case going forward. We have seen WWE operate in both ways over the last 10, 15 years, so it'll be really interesting to see. In fact, God, Matt Baines, can you believe the first brand split was 22 years ago? Oh my God.
What?
But we've been seeing WWE operate now in different types of brand split for about 22 years, so that's in fact nearly 23 years by the time we get into 2025.
What?
I know, time goes too quick, man. But yeah, right now, all we know is that WWE, the brand split is becoming a little bit more fluid. And we've seen that over the last few weeks with the Bloodline and Bronson Reed appearing on both shows. Rhea Ripley and some others also appearing on both shows. Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, etc. And as we build towards WarGames, where we have got inter-brand matches going on, I think that totally makes sense. And that is this week's news. Maybe it's time to go to a break before we do our reviews. Cool, so if that's all right with you, Matt Baines, I'd really like to review this week's Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm pretty sure that you've got your notes down, written and ready.
I have, yeah, absolutely. And Raw this week from the Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids, Michigan, was packed with some explosive moments and heavy-hitting matches on the road to WarGames. And let's dive into the highlights. So the show kicked off with Liv Morgan and her faction, if you like, her WarGames team, squaring off against the rivals. So we've got Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Io Sky and Naomi squaring up against the likes of Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRae. Nearly forgot one then. When the returning Rhea Ripley came out and declared that she was in for WarGames, now wearing a mask similar to one that we've seen before on the likes of Carmella and Cody Rhodes when they've had facial injuries. Certainly back for a vengeance, headbutting Liv Morgan and sparking an absolutely wild brawl on Monday Night Raw. This is down as a shocking return, and I absolutely have to agree. It was shocking because I didn't expect it to back this quick. I thought we might hold off till the Royal Rumble. Yeah,
I get what you're saying. I think what also added onto it being such a shock was Liv's reaction at the same time. Because
1000%.
Because at the same time, she held as she did the counting, what are you going to do? And then had the mic behind her back. Literally, all of a sudden, as soon as she walks out, you hear the mic literally drop. So it was almost like a mic drop moment, but it actually happened.
Yeah, a realistic mic drop moment. We then got Bron Breakker retaining in a brutal clash for the Intercontinental Championship against Sheamus. Really physical. The two delivered hard-hitting action, as you would expect. An absolute banger, if you like. Sheamus surviving big moves and Breakker showing why he's the new dominant force. The match ended in a DQ when Ludwig Kaiser interfered, reigniting his feud with Sheamus and possibly setting up a triple threat showdown or maybe even a singles with Bron Breakker. Fans were left wanting more after this nearly, I would say, I don't like to give ratings, but I would probably give that match 4 bangers quite easily. It was really good until the end. We also got Bronson Reed shocking Seth Rollins. So in the night's main event, we got Seth Rollins squaring off against the massive Bronson Reed in a high-energy contest. Reed absorbed Rollins' best moves, including a pedigree, and still came out victorious thanks to a distraction by Solo Sikoa. Post-match, Sikoa raised Bronson Reed's hand, cementing the alliance and further complicating the build to the men's WarGames match, with Rollins refusing to join Sami Zayn's team earlier in the night. This loss, I thought at the time, could push him into reconsidering his stance and maybe joining with the Bloodline, and I think we were all probably expecting that as Monday Night Raw went off the air, but no, not quite what happened.
No, it wasn't quite what happened, but the difference is, what I think is a nice little touch is the fact that when people are sitting there saying, well, you're not Samoan to Bronson Reed, and it's like, well, actually, I'm half Samoan.
Yeah, Andy's Aussie, so they can do what they want. We then got tag team action highlights in the mid-card. So the LWO, Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega picked up a win over American Made, which was Chad Gable and Ivy Nile. Post-match tensions between Gable and the Creed brothers hinted a shake-up within their faction, but then he really pulled them together as a team. The War Raiders also defeated Carlito and Dominic in another solid tag bout, only then to be ambushed by the World Tag Team Champions Finn Balor and JD Macarena, setting up the title clash down the line. What else did we have on Monday Night Raw? We got backstage stories and Survivor Series build. We got The Miz and Karrion Kross forming a sinister alliance, continuing their feud with the Wyatt Six faction, now led by Bo Dallas. Gunter and Damian Priest escalated their rivalry ahead of their world title match, with Priest showing that he's not intimidated by the champion. And the Usos and Sami Zayn tried to recruit Seth Rollins, as I said, for the WarGames team, but Rollins refused due to his history with Roman Reigns, and did say, really nice beat in this, was that he did say that next time he's in a ring with Roman Reigns, he's going to stomp his head into the floor, which I really enjoyed. Next week on Raw, we got Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax for the WarGames advantage, and the New Day attempting to settle their differences in a match against the Alpha Academy. So lots going on there. By the Alpha Academy, I think they mean Otis and Akira Tozawa.
Yeah.
Because there's that many different variations of Chad Gable teams now. Who knows?
He's almost like the new Randy Orton for having so many groups and so many teams.
Absolutely.
As pointed out once by the New Day.
Matt, do you love The Burning Truth?
Oh, of course I do.
And do you love NXT?
Yes, I do.
Then you and everybody else listening should not miss this week's NXT review and reaction live on YouTube and TikTok at The Burning Truth 251. This week's NXT was explosive. The Iron Survivor Challenge qualifiers brought chaos as Nathan Frazier and Zarya secured their spots, while Stephanie Vaquer took full advantage of Lola Vice's antics, and Fallon Henley, she stood tall in the women's North American title scene until a tequila shot left her laid out, and I don't mean the drinking kind. Plus, Ridge Holland destroyed Andre Chase, officially ending Chase U in a heart-wrenching main event. And Tony D'Angelo, he may have picked up a win, but a brutal post-match ambush has left his reign in jeopardy. So what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe on YouTube at The Burning Truth 251, follow us on TikTok, and join the live chat as we break down every rivalry, every twist, and every jaw-dropping moment. We'll see you on YouTube. Now let's talk SmackDown, shall we?
Let's talk it.
So SmackDown delivered a fiery episode this week, probably the wrestling show of the week for me, including AEW Full Gear. And I don't normally say that because I like to say normally that AEW always deliver on pay-per-view, but not this week, Matt Burns. Not like SmackDown did.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that with the AEW stuff because I've got some good takes, some hot takes, and some bad takes.
So this week's SmackDown loaded with drama, surprises, and high-stakes moments as we gear up for WarGames. And here's the breakdown. The Bloodline showdown intensified. The night kicked off with Solo Sikoa and his newly formed faction laying down the challenge for Roman Reigns, surrender and join Solo's Floodline. But Roman, flanked by his OG Bloodline team, Jimmy and Jay wearing OG Bloodline shirts, and Sami Zayn wearing a Sami Uso shirt, had other plans. In the closing segment, they were in the ring, and Paul Heyman returned to everyone's surprise. And with him came the shocking return of one CM Punk as the fifth man for the WarGames squad.
Well, if you want to see a shocked reaction, just check us out on TikTok. I believe there was a shocked reaction on there as well.
I did record it live. The crowd erupted as Punk joined forces with Roman Reigns' team, setting the stage for an explosive 5-on-5 clash for WarGames. That's right. We have the best in the world and the OTC in the same team for WarGames. How are they going to coexist? We then got Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens face off. This was really good. Really promo work, Matt Burns. This was 11 out of 10. Right?
Oh yeah,
definitely really good.
Definitely, because it wasn't just the fact of it, just being heated. It felt personal.
Yeah, it was raw intensity. Owens blamed Cody for aligning with Roman Reigns, leading to KO's downward spiral. Cody clapped back, and this was brilliant. Cody, this might be one of the better promos he's done since he's been back in WWE, and that's saying something, because you've got to remember, in this time we've had Finish the Story, right? But Cody clapped back on Owens, calling him insecure and blaming him for crossing the line by taking it out on Randy Orton. Owens left with a cryptic promise to choose the time and place for the eventual clash, leaving Cody fuming in the ring. And this is going to lead, I think, and I don't know what you think, Matt Burns, but I think this will lead to a match at Saturday night's main event, probably the main event for Saturday night's main event.
If it isn't, I wouldn't know how it's not, because straight away, for me personally, I think the reason why what makes it even more hype is the fact that Cody knows that KO is going to be coming with everything, and he's not going to be afraid to pull the trigger. But at the same time, you know that Cody is not afraid to pull that trigger as well, because he's made it clear they are gunning for each other. And
well, let me tell you this: it's time for Scott's statistics, right? Did you know this will be the third WWE PLE in a row Cody Rhodes has not defended the WWE Championship?
Really?
And Roman Reigns got loads of grief for how much he wasn't in WWE, but actually this is the third PLE in a row that Cody won't have defended the WWE Championship.
So what's he doing then?
Well, he's been tagging with Roman Reigns.
No, I'm saying, what's he doing at the next one?
Well, he's doing nothing at Survivor Series yet, is he?
Ooh, wait. I don't know why, I've just got this feeling there's going to be a setup for him and KO, and then it's going to turn out into another all-out brawl, and it's then going to lead to the Saturday night.
I would say so. What else did we have? We had Chelsea Green advance in the women's US title tournament, a chaotic triple threat match where Chelsea Green bested Bianca Belair and Blair Davenport. Nice to see Blair Davenport on SmackDown. We don't get that very often. And she advances to the semi-finals. This match had everything. Standout spots, fan chants for Chelsea Green, and an interruption as Jade Cargill was taken out backstage, and Bianca Belair had a choice to make: carry on with the match or go leave and check on her ally backstage. And she did. She ran off to check on Bianca Belair, who'd almost been thrown from like a loading dock point onto a car. She was on top of a smashed car, windscreen, etc.
Black eye and everything.
Yeah, black eye.
Now,
so Belair left to check on her ally, and Green capitalised, pinning Blair Davenport, and she now faces Bayley in the semi-finals, which is phenomenal.
Interesting fact now, what you just said, you just brought your Scott's, statistics.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some Matt facts right for you.
Matt facts, I love that.
Right, because the rumour has it that the reason why they've done this is because Jade Cargill has actually got some potential actual injury, which is why they've gone through this idea. But it's not 100% confirmed as of yet. It's only rumoured that this is to cover an actual injury.
Oh. Just as we're getting some momentum with the tag titles as well, which is a shame.
It's almost like they're cursed.
I'm going to hope it's a work. LA Knight defended his US title against Santos Escobar. Now, when we talk about workers in WWE who have presence, who have a certain allure, right? Wrestlers who've got a vibe, right? And I'm talking Roman Reigns, The Rock, Cody Rhodes. You feel it when they're in the arena, yeah? I've never known a wrestler have so little of that than Santos Escobar. Right? I really want to care about Santos Escobar, but just what he's doing right now, it's just got absolutely no... I don't know the word I'm looking for here. He's just got absolutely no presence in his character.
Maybe he might need to speak to somebody that was at a former wrestling company of Lucha Underground. King Cuernos, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. I feel like I've butchered it.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, despite an interruption from Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight retained the United States Championship with a decisive BFT on Escobar. Post-match, Nakamura attacked LA Knight for the second week in a row, escalating the feud as Nakamura obviously eyes the United States Championship gold. And again, he looked darker, he looked angrier, and he looked like the lone ninja that he is going to be going forward. We also had tag team tension boiling over, so Tommaso Ciampa's heel antics continued after losing to Montez Ford in a competitive singles match. Post-match chaos saw Ciampa clash with his own partner Johnny Gargano, and the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, with the Street Profits also in the mix. A triple threat tag team match does seem imminent. We also got the women's division chaos. So I said it before, but Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae stirring trouble in a tag match against Naomi Bailey, leading to a DQ brawl. Rhea Ripley made a fiery kendo stick wielding save, solidifying her leadership in the WarGames team as the women's rivalry heats up. But I said this earlier on, I don't know if I said it on the pod or not, or whether this was pre-record, but it feels rushed to me. Women's WarGames feels rushed.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it might be because of that bit of information that I had literally passed, with my Matt facts.
Hey,
of course.
I like a Matt fact. A Matt fact and a Scott statistic. It's good. Announcements for next week. We've got Cody Rhodes versus Carmelo Hayes after they had a bit of a words backstage after the Cody Rhodes Kevin Owens segment. We've got the women's US title tournament semi-final on the other on the other side of the bracket, which is Michin versus Piper Niven versus what should have been Jade Cargill. So her injury now leaves the spot open, and the obviously the rest of WarGames taking shape. So with just a week to go, the card for WarGames looks like this. The OG Bloodline being Roman Reigns, the Jimmy and Jey Uso, Sami Zayn and CM Punk versus Solo's fake bloodline, or Floodline as we call it here on The Burning Truth, which is Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Bronson Reed. Women's WarGames as it stands is Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, but maybe not, Naomi and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Candice LeRae and Tiffany Stratton. Plus the World Heavyweight Championship, boot, signed, sealed, delivered. We've got Gunter the champion defending against Damian Priest. And that's where we are for this week's WWE, Matt Burns.
Which is great. Which is, great content, top of the line, and out of all the content for WWE, I feel it's in between NXT and SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown was great this week.
Right. Shall we move on to some... I know, it's been a while. It's been a while.
But it is a PLE week, and that means it's time to talk about
AEW, and of course Full Gear. The big event that a certain cowboy says it's named after him, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I'll just break it down. We had some pre-show matches, which is the weird thing about it is there was 12 matches on this entire card. Now, when we initially did our predictions, there was only 9. We're gaining matches from out of nowhere. What's going on? But anyway, I think the first match that we actually ended up getting, which was Anna Jay versus Deonna Purrazzo with Taya Valkyrie at ringside. Now this match I thought was really good, and what it was Deonna Purrazzo pushing for this match to happen, seeing as it's in her hometown area, and really push for it. Now, what was interesting is in it, I thought, hometown and individual will get the win. Nope, denied. Anna Jay won in literally 7 minutes on the pre-show. What's going on? Madness. It might actually make Deonna Purrazzo actually question whether she should be asking management for more time on the show. Even if it is a hometown. Whoops. But anyway, moving on. We had a 4-way match between Buddy Matthews, Dante Martin, Commander, and the Beast Mortus. Now, what I thought was so interesting in this is the fact that out of all 4 of them, we were expecting one of them be the crowd favourites, and none other. It was Buddy Matthews. The crowd were absolutely all over it with Buddy Matthews. They absolutely popped for near enough everything that he was doing. Even though the Beast Mortus is quite popular himself. But anyway, let's move on to the one of the highlights of the actual entire event, which was involving, QT Marshall versus Big Boom AJ with Big Justice and the Rizzler, of course, serving as special guest timekeeper. Now, I was looking at it, I'm like, for anybody who's in America, they would know who these are. You know, the Costco, the Costco boys, the Costco family. You know, it's a father and son tribute and everything, and they do all like TikToks, YouTubes, and they actually advertise brands.
Yeah, we haven't got a clue who they are though. No,
we don't know who they are, but the crowd were going absolutely ballistic for it, and I'm just there thinking to myself, hang on. This is out loud. It's almost like a highlight of the entire event. And this is on the pre-show.
Yeah, it's bad when your celebrity, sideshow pieces come in and they're more over than your champions.
It was worrying. It's really worrying. But as long as they don't just sit there and go, right, we need to lower his standards immediately. Play on it. Listen to what they're doing. You know, use this to your advantage as much as you can now. Because it's only going to be hot for so long. Now, what I thought was also a bit unusual is the fact that the pre-show had 3 of the entrances of the next match. But then, it was like, right, so we're going to go straight into... It transitioned straight over to the main, PLE or pay-per-view, which was for Full Gear. Which is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, which pitted Private Party versus the Outrunners versus the Kings of the Blackthorn, or the House of Black, whichever one call it, and the Acclaimed, maybe. And there's a reason why I just said that, maybe. Because this match did not feel like it was an AEW World Tag Team Championship match for me. This felt like it was more of a focus on, the Acclaimed are splitting up. They've been literally cutting it that much. Literally. Just snap the team up. Break it up. Cut it in half. Do whatever you need to do. Get it over and done with. We understand that, that they don't always work out, but this felt more about the Acclaim than actually Private Party defending the AEW World Tag Team Championship. What more can I add on that? No. Moving on. MJF versus Roderick Strong. Right. To some, I think the beginning of this match was just MJF just try and get some pure heat, which... It felt a bit unnecessary.
I don't understand who's the babyface and who's the heel in these feuds.
Neither did the crowd, because what made it so weird, we've got them chanting the old MJF line of they like him, but immediately the crowd going, no, we don't. And it just felt a little bit wrong, because this felt like, I just didn't get it. And then after the match, right, we then get MJF Pillmanize Roderick Strong's hand, and when did Roderick Strong's friends come out, including Adam Cole? Only after he's Pillmanized his hand, and then we've got Kyle O'Reilly coming down and just now saying helping Roderick Strong up and shoving Adam Cole, which
he was really cross at Adam Cole. It wasn't Adam Cole's fault. It was MJF's.
It was MJF's. Now it was like, what? That did not make any sense.
Yeah, so convoluted, wasn't
it? It lost me. And what do you say? Or should we say, what does it...
If you confuse them, you lose them.
And that's actually confused me. And right. But anyway, we've got that result out the way. Moving on. Do I really need to cover this?
Oh, it's time for the CEO.
Right. Singles match for the AEW TBS Championship. And I know a lot of people were sitting there saying it was such a glorious match and everything. And it didn't feel like that, for me personally. And yes, I also know that Mercedes Moné has actually said she doesn't listen to people online anymore. It doesn't bother as much anymore. Yeah, that's fine. But at the same time, if the content that you're producing isn't good, they're going to switch off, which is not what you want. So... Book your ideas up. You should be doing better than this. And to be given the longest women's match in AEW history, supposedly, which was just shy of 20 minutes. That's not exactly a great feat to be sitting there and be proud of. That's worrying.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally.
That's worrying. But I felt as though Chris Statlander was carrying Mercedes Moné at times. And the finish, I think, some people sit there saying, oh, it's an original finisher. Yeah, it felt more like Mercedes Moné didn't know exactly where she was in the ring and got a little, Bob Rossed it and got a little bit lucky, personally. But whatever, it happens. But the thing I didn't get is, she got Camille in the back, and it was a clean win over Chris Statlander. Why was this a clean win? Why?
Your guess is as good as mine, mate. I'm sick of asking questions about AEW because I don't think any of it makes sense.
It made no sense. Now, the only other thing I can see from here is your prediction coming true, which is going to be Camille. Oh, by the way, in case you won't know out of the predictions so far, would you like to know what our predictions are so far?
Yeah, go on.
3-1.
To you.
Yep.
I did not do well.
But
yes, if you want to know how badly I did do, you can check this out on @TheBurningTruth251 on YouTube. Just it should be the first video you click on if you go on it this week, which will be our AEW Full Gear predictions. And I did not do well, guys. But neither did Matt Burns, to be fair.
Oh, I actually did better than you thought.
Yeah, you did better than me, but we still didn't get any top marks.
Wait for it. Oh no, that's 3-1 currently out of what we are reviewing so far.
Oh, okay, fair dues.
So we're going to get more into it. Then we got to Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page. Great match. Great storytelling. Counter after counter after counter, which I thought was really, really interesting. The only issue I had with it is the finish. As in, who won.
Oh, okay.
Jay White defeating Hangman Adam Page. I didn't get it at the time. If you see where I'm going with this. I didn't get it at the time. Because I felt as though all that push for Hangman is just gone out the window. So straight away, I feel as though what's happening with Adam Page right now? What's next? And then, but we'll get more on that later because this wasn't the only time we saw them. But more on that later.
Yeah.
Next match, Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Did you watch all of this match?
I did, and I'm quite happy to tell you that I thought this was worse than the Mercedes Moné match.
Really?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you for why. So, what's the best way of saying this? The best way of saying this is probably, and I'm going to sum it up in one sentence, right?
Okay.
WWE got the pile driver over, and AEW made it into a joke. That's how I felt about this match. It was ridiculous. Now, I get the athleticism and all the rest of it, but this was a match that proved to me that they can be athletic as they want, but if they can't work, it means nothing.
Now, they did do some work and did tell a bit of a story, but me personally, I think after a certain move off the edge of the ring, that should have been
steps.
It. Yeah, that should have been it. Over.
Ridiculous,
done.
mate. Absolutely ridiculous.
That should have been it. Move on. Game over. Done.
It shouldn't have just been over. He then should have been written off TV for 8 weeks.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. And to find out that what actually ended up doing this was the brainbuster on the top turnbuckle. Not the tombstone.
Not the tombstone from the apron onto the steel steps.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, mate.
Yeah. Now, I understand that
Listen, I get this is just my opinion, right? And I get
I'm
these guys have got a lot of fans, and I appreciate the athleticism, and I think they absolutely, for that style of wrestling, they put on a tremendous match. But for me, I did not enjoy it at all. It just took me out of the moment.
Fair enough. But anyway, Kyle Fletcher got the win, which was clean as well. It was clean, sort of clean. Sort of, to a degree. Well, the thing is, he still got the pin. Now, which straight away I thought, okay, I was happy with that because I got it right. Now, because like I said on the last match, the Jay White and Hangman Adam Page, we both got that wrong. So at the moment, it is now 4-1. So let's move on. Daniel Garcia versus Jack Perry for the TNT Championship. This, I knew immediately who was winning. Immediately. And this was even before they even did the entrances. As soon as he started, they have a package of Daniel Garcia showing images of his childhood. And with a supposed phone call from his mum. Why they did that special intro for him just before he comes out? I straight away I was trying. Well, there you go. He's winning immediately. All they've done is they then have Jack Perry come out with a scapegoat mask and go, "Yeah, ooh, I'm spooky." That was it. The ending of the match didn't make a lick of sense. It felt like it felt almost like he gave the belt. He almost put himself in the situation. It didn't feel right.
I'm not a big fan of Jack Perry either, and I feel I'm trying not to talk much about it because I feel like I just spend my time AEW bashing, and that's honestly not what I want to do. You know, I thought there were some really good stuff on this show. Was. You know, Jay White and Hangman Page I enjoyed.
Yep.
The tag match I enjoyed to a point. Bobby Lashley, Swerve Strickland I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But there are other parts of this show that I just thought were utter trash, and this was another one of them. I don't rate Jack Perry at all.
Fair enough. Now let's just quickly move on. Konosuke Takeshita. I'm just trying to not do the one that you told me.
Yeah, it's
Takeshita.
Yeah, the one that's my kids say. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not family friendly. Versus Ricochet. This I thought was interesting. Had some good beats in it.
This wasn't announced, was it? We didn't do this as a prediction.
No. We didn't.
I thought this in as an extra is mad.
A part of me almost felt like we should have predicted this because of the way they were doing certain things. We should have predicted it ourselves, you know. So we could have given ourselves double points for it, you know, points for actually predicting that it was there, and points for getting it right, which is probably fair. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's probably fair. I mean, I don't watch the TV show every week. You should have told me it was going to happen. That's what I think. You should lose a point.
I can afford to lose a point because how badly it went for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because bear in mind, Daniel Garcia.
Matt Burns.
Yep.
Matt Burns. Who won the match?
Oh, Konosuke.
Moving on.
Moving on. Well, at the moment, right now, so far on the predictions, it is literally, if I'm not mistaken, 5-1. But we've got some good news for you. We've got you some wins here. But unfortunately, I also got them as well. Which is Bobby Lashley versus Swerve Strickland.
And I said Bobby Lashley was going to absolutely destroy Swerve.
Swerve got some licks in.
Yeah, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. You know, this is probably my favourite match on the card.
No, I'd agree with that. I was just now thinking to myself, how's Swerve going to be a credible threat for Bobby Lashley? And then the Swerve stomp through the Spanish announce table.
Yeah, it was good. I like Swerve.
That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. But I love the finish of the match. The slight distraction. And it was slight. Belly to belly, overhead, almost into the barricade, the corner of it. And then, you know, while he's beating down, literally, how it looked, genuinely, him going, you know, literally spearing him through the barricade, the crowd barricade. It was just, can you imagine if you were a fan right there and you weren't expecting that, just two of them come flying through at you.
Yeah, and do you know what though? I just think Bobby Lashley's such a beast, and like I said, he's got the potential to be the biggest star in AEW. I think he's one of only 3 genuine stars within AEW: Jon Moxley, Bobby Lashley, and Bryan Danielson. So,
Yeah, and bear in mind, any company he ends up
Adam Copeland. Sorry, Adam Copeland. Let's make it 4. But
yeah. But any company that Bobby Lashley does get himself into, he suddenly gets himself in that top position very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly, because case in point, when he wrestled for TNA, when he came back to WWE, and right now I can see him eventually catapulting himself straight into the AEW main event picture, which right now, after this match was all done, Bobby Lashley getting the win with the submission, and also beating down on Prince Nana after, which was brutal, showcasing that the Hurt Syndicate is here for hurting. But moving on to the main event, which was Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. I thought one piece of it, there was a part of this match I actually thought Orange Cassidy was going to win.
Really?
I thought the suitcase when it was loose, and you got you got the referee distracted, and he bounced Moxley with it. I'm like, 1, 2, and how close that referee hand. I was like, whoa, what? And Mox, fair play to him, kicked out at that 2.99999%.
Oh, it was like Kurt Angle timing.
Oh yeah, it was. It was like, oh, genuinely, I actually thought Orange Cassidy had it. It just put that little belief of doubt in my head. And I thought that's a nice beat. But I feel as though the storytelling of having Wheeler Yuta be the reason for Orange Cassidy's defeat was, I think, a really nice touch as well. On top of it, but what was also nice is that we had Willow Nightingale coming back, didn't we?
Yeah.
And taking care of is it? I'm just trying not butcher the next name.
Marina Shafir.
Yeah, Marina Shafir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I am so terrible with names. So terrible.
Pronunciation's not your strong suit, mate. You're just a common bloke from the Midlands.
So that's why I got an E in English. I thought it was E for English. I'm joking. That's
hurt, that's hurt.
But anyway, moving on. But after what I thought was a really shocking twist is that while Moxley and Yuta are ready to beat down on Orange Cassidy, we had Hangman Adam Page come out with that steel chair, and I will say, if you were Wheeler Yuta, do you owe Adam Page money? Because damn, he belted him.
I'd have been out of there Wheeler Yuta quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you saw Mox let you look at him, like, huh? What's going on here? Eye to eye for Christian Cage come in.
This whole segment now for me was really convoluted. I couldn't keep up with all the different moving parts. It felt like too much.
Nope, spot on. I agree with you. It's another. You confuse them, you lose them moments. Now for me, it just felt as though immediately Adam Page caused a distraction for Christian Cage. Christian making a promise that Adam Page would be the first one he defends it against, just as he's about to cash it in for Jay White, slamming, pretty much get rid of Page and pretty much take care of Christian. And literally says, told you I'd owe you one. Now, what I thought was even more confusing is he's just technically saved Mox there, right? To then have the death right. Well, got to be careful of saying the actual group name because we don't really getting demonetized because the actual group's name. Or didn't you know about that?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, certain videos have been getting demonetized, but it hasn't happened on us yet. Which we're not. We're just gonna be a bit careful.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we just call them the D Riders?
We won't get in trouble for that. Whoops. But anyway, the D Riders come in and pretty much just beat down on Jay White, which confused me even more. And then Jay White just going, Pack.
Why are they going on holiday?
No, it looked more like they were. I think they try and set up Jay White and Pac next potentially. then in the absolute confusion, you've then immediately got Mox trying to make his escape. Oh, look, there's the van conveniently parked outside, out on the street, instead of indoors, which immediately adds you out. Something's hitting there. Bam, in comes a car. There we go, done, job done. And we find out it's Darby Allin while they scarper off into stealing the van and getting away. And got Darby Allin, who's bleeding from his forehead, smashing his skateboard on the original D-Rider's vehicle. Now, I thought it was even weirder when people in comments just there saying, "Why is he bleeding? He's just been on a head-on collision crash. Why do you think he's bleeding?"
Yeah, but because it's AEW, they won't think that hurts because you can do a tombstone off the apron onto some steel steps and be absolutely fine.
Or you can do, if I'm not mistaken, was it 3, 5, or 6, 7 Canadian Destroyers in one match? Back to back.
There you go. See, that's the thing, isn't it? That's why people don't believe that you'd be hurt in a car accident.
Right, and that's a wrap up for AEW.
How many bangers would you have given AEW Full Gear, Matt Burns?
I'm in between. I'm going to go, for me personally, 3.
3 bangers. I'd give it 1 banger. So if we land in the middle, that's 2 bangers, I think, between us. But yeah. I really didn't.
The average of it becomes 2 bangers, between the 2 of us.
I've said this previously, haven't I? AEW always delivers on pay-per-view.
The only reason why I give it 3 bangers is because I'm actually watching the current content. You've got to be an avid follower. Now, if you were just coming into it straight away, I can see why it's 1 banger, because you don't know what anything is, and it just seems a bit rushed.
It doesn't flow though either, does it?
No.
The reason I said that before is AEW always delivers on pay-per-view, right? Except they didn't today. They didn't last night. They didn't this week. It wasn't.
It didn't feel like it was full gear. It felt like it was half gear.
I love that. That's a great way to sum it up, Matt Burns. Why don't we take a little break, and when we come back, we've got this week's big debate.
Hello, friends. Are you enjoying the Burning Truth Live so far? Well, I hope you are, because we're working bloody hard to make it as good as we can. But what we need is your help, and we need your help by subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review. You do not know how much it will help the podcast if you can do that for us. It'll help us spread the word, help us grow the community, and more than anything, it'll help us keep providing amazing wrestling content like we are right now. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get back to the show. But please, please, please rate and review and subscribe. Thanks, guys.
It's the heavyweight debate. Who's the best in the wrestling world and all the rest? From pile drivers to a high-flying spot, Matt and Scott debate the lot.
It's now time for the big debate. So, wrestling fans, let's set the stage up. It's been nearly a year since CM Punk made his highly anticipated return to WWE, a moment that sent shockwaves through the wrestling world, after almost a decade away from the company. Punk walked back into the spotlight to one of the loudest reactions we've ever seen, but the real question is, did he live up to the hype? Has Punk's return been everything fans dreamed of, or has it fallen flat? That's exactly what we're debating right now. I'll be taking the side that says Punk's year has been a flop, while Scott's going to try and convince me and all of you why it's been such a massive big success. So buckle up, because this is going to be one that is going to get heated.
And I'm glad you said that, Matt Burns. You've already set me up for my first point, right? Which is crowd reaction and star power. CM Punk's return generated one of, if not the loudest pop in WWE history. His mere presence reignited excitement amongst fans who had clamoured for his return for nearly a decade. The reaction demonstrated not only his star power and ability to captivate audiences, but also just how much of a draw he was. CM Punk has the crowd reaction like no other in certain parts of the world.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. However, he's had limited in-ring activity due to his injuries. Punk's first year was, marred by a torn tricep injury, which sidelined him over for 6 months. Missed WrestleMania 40 and other key events hurt his momentum and raised concerns about his physical durability. Actually makes you question, is Phil, ready for to be the top guy, the best in the world, or is he just the best at being broken?
Do you know what? I don't think, even though he's been injured, though, we've seen any less of him than we would have done had he been fit this year. So his mic skills are unmatched in WWE. His promos blur the line between kayfabe, reality, gives real depth to his character, and he keeps fans engaged. And those promos keeping his fans engaged over this 12 months, even with the injuries, those verbal jousts with stars like Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, they've been highlights of the year, right? And specifically, Punk's rivalry with Drew McIntyre delivered one of WWE's most personal and intense storylines. And for the majority of that storyline, CM Punk couldn't wrestle, right? And when he could, the Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood, which was the finale to the feud, was highly praised and showed that CM Punk could still deliver at a high level when given the opportunity, when injured or not.
Yeah, but at the moment, so far out of all the storylines that they were pointing towards, the only storyline that's actually come to light is Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre took credit for the injury, with Punk's creative direction feeling like it was aimless. Teasing rivalries with stars like Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns never produced or materialised, leaving fans disappointed and questioning WWE's commitment to using Punk effectively. So that didn't exactly help. And then to add on, his underwhelming in-ring output, while Punk's delivered in key matches like Bad Blood, his overall in-ring output is pale compared to his people's expectations. Age and injury seem to have all taken a toll, as I've said, on his ability to consistently perform at the level that fans remember.
Teased, right? Rivalries teased rather than executed. I will agree. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. But these seeds that have been planted during this first year will come back to create explosive storylines moving forward. And that's what he's done really well this year, is he has set the seed. These compelling feuds that we've still got loads of time left to explore. It's not just that, though, right? He's showed that he can coexist with WWE's modern roster whilst he still maintained that unique identity, right? Because CM Punk is special, and his ability to adapt and still stand out in a vastly different era of wrestling to what he was in previously speaks volumes about his relevance. And lastly, while we're talking about relevance, let me talk about his merch sales. He's boosted ratings, and he showed that when he's appeared on a show, right, he's made a difference. His segments consistently generate viewership spikes, proving his financial and marketing value to WWE as a draw. And you've only got to see that this week, because the Bloodline story, the hottest story in wrestling, Matt Burns, got even better on this week's SmackDown because of the best in the world.
Well, better than mine, he's had to interject himself into somebody else's storyline, which means straight away Punk's returning to the roster filled with red-hot talents like LA Knight, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. His presence, while significant, has failed to eclipse the popularity or momentum of these stars. So he's had to jump onto other people's momentum to push him still at the moment. So, and at the same time, what's not exactly helped him is the whole backstage drama overshadowing his on-screen work, the whole situation with AEW and everything, tension, whether it's true or exaggerated. It's tarnished his comeback and distracted from his performance. And for me, my final point I'm going to bring up here is fans expected Punk to revolutionise WWE, much like his pipe bomb era. Instead, his returns felt more like a nostalgia-driven booking without the groundbreaking moments that many have hoped for so far yet.
Okay, well, I suppose whether CM Punk's first 12 months back in WWE are deemed as a success or a failure or depend on your perspective. So from a business and nostalgia standpoint, his return has undeniably created buzz and financial gain. From a creative and in-ring standpoint, injuries, limited storylines, we may have missed an opportunity. So I think the only way to know for sure is by letting us know in the comments what you thought of CM Punk's first 12 months back. How have they used him, and how well have they used him? Am I right? Has it been a success? Ben's right. Has it been a total flop? You tell us, because we're really interested and we want to know.
Yeah, we want to know. You be the voice. You be the judge, jury, and executioner of this debate. And I'm not gonna throw out and be a bit of a heel. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna say, Punk is not as over as everyone thinks he is. He isn't. He can, I believe that Triple H said he can be very self-centered, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that's my final part. But anyway, with that, that's the end of this big debate. Let's move on. And if I'm not mistaken, moving on to the let's move on to the top 3.
Do you love NXT?
Yeah.
Do you hate that we don't talk about it on the podcast?
Hell yeah. What's up with that?
Well, you can catch all the NXT action live on our YouTube streams every week if you subscribe at The Burning Truth 251 on YouTube and listen to me, Scott, and I'm talking all things NXT every week on a Wednesday. See you there.
It's now time for the top 3. The top 3. The top 3. Ladies and gentlemen,
that little whisper, that was sexy.
Oh, I had to do it a little bit different. I had to, a bit of AMSR.
What's top 3, Matt Burns?
Well, for this week, as we always keep challenging each other to bring out, we always keep challenging each other to bring out the top 3, whatever we bring to each other. And for this week, I want your top 3 wrestling hype videos.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you asked me this last week, actually. You gave me a bit of time to think about it, which was nice, because my brain initially went to 1, and it was always going to be my number 1. And once I say it, it's going to be everybody else's number 1 as well if you're of a certain age, because it's the best hype video ever made in wrestling. The other 2 are more personal to me. And we've talked about 1 previously, actually. And I've given some background on why I like him, but it's actually number 3 that we've talked about before. So I'm going to start with number 3. Let's kick things off, and this one is all about resilience. It's Triple H's Beautiful Day video that captures one of the most emotional comebacks in WWE history. After he tore his quad, a career-threatening injury, Triple H fought his way back to the top. The hype video, set to U2's iconic track, shows the journey from heartbreak to return, and that Madison Square Garden return gave me absolute goosebumps. For me, it's more than a hype video. It's a story of grit, determination, and it really reminded me at the time why we called him The Game. And actually, it sold me Triple H to me. Before this, I was not a Triple H fan. And after the return, I was 100% on board with Triple H. So my number 3, Triple H Beautiful Day. This video just made the return. My number 2 is my only, match hype video. And it's I'm going back to the match that hooked me as a fan, which is Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 15. And this is the first pay-per-view I ever watched, believe it or not, right? The promo leading up to it is burned into my memory. It's everything you want from the Attitude Era. It's chaotic, edgy, full of raw, mind of the pun, intensity. The angles building up to this match is what made it. So we're talking beer truck. We're talking Mankind and the Big Show feuding over who gets to be the referee. We're talking Vince McMahon winning the Royal Rumble and Austin then having to beat him at St. Valentine's Day Massacre to earn the shot. The corporation, The Rock and Big Show, were falling out at this time. So this match felt like the most important thing in the world at the time. And for me, it's not just a hype video. It's almost a time capsule of what made wrestling so special to me when I first started watching it. That's why it's my number 1. And everybody, when I said Rock Austin, he's going to say My Way from 17. But it just doesn't mean as much to me as 15 does, because 15 was my first WrestleMania. Not only my first WrestleMania, it was my first pay-per-view.
Oh,
I never told you the first time I watched wrestling.
No.
Story and kind of fits into this. The first time I ever watched wrestling, I went to our mutual friend Dave's house, right?
Yep.
And he'd got a videotape that had been recorded from the night before. Must have been a Tuesday night, right? Or might have been a Saturday, actually, because back then we used to get Monday Night Raw on a Friday night. So it was recorded from the night before, and he put it in the VHS, the VCR, in his bedroom, and it played, and it was the episode of Monday Night Raw with the beer truck, funnily enough. That was the first time I ever watched wrestling. When your introduction to wrestling is the beer truck.
The beer truck.
The beer truck. Austin coming out with the beer truck and hosing McMahon and the corporation. When that is your introduction to wrestling, what chance have you got?
You never stood a chance.
No, because I've got friends who their introduction to wrestling was watching Sunday Night Heat and watching the Big Boss Man versus Crash Holly. Right? The chalk and cheese, that is, isn't it? Anyway, That's number 2. So let's move on to number 1, right? The number 1 undisputed greatest video in the history of the WWF and WWE. Prove me wrong. Lonely Road of Faith. There's nothing else like it. It isn't just a hype package, it's a love letter to the fans and the wrestlers who put the bodies on the line night after night. Set to Kid Rock's emotional ballad, it captures the heart of WWE during the golden years. It's nostalgic, it's heartfelt, and it represents absolutely everything that I love about pro wrestling. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. WWF, Lonely Road of Faith. It is magic. And that's my number 1. So number 3, Triple H, Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
Number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, the WrestleMania 15 promo. And number 1, Lonely Road of Faith, the WWF tribute video.
I'm just trying. If you want a bit of a recommend, another shout out, I thought was a really good one, and it's a match one. It was from, I believe, 2002.
Okay.
Unforgiven. Do you know it?
Unforgiven 2002. I can't think of the match. Was it Brock Lesnar and Undertaker?
Oh, on the money.
Was it? Is that do you know why that sticks out to me? Is that the one where the Undertaker throws Brock Lesnar through the sign at the end of the night?
Yes.
Oh, that's why it sticks in my memory.
It was the one where he supposedly threatened Undertaker's wife, and he supposedly broke Taker's hand.
That's right, yeah.
And the hype video for that was just phenomenal.
The only other one that I debated going into my top 3, it wasn't that one actually. I hadn't even thought of that one. The only other one that I debated, and it wasn't the My Way one. It was actually the hype video for the Brock Lesnar Eddie Guerrero match at No Way Out 04 because of Eddie's promo leading up to it. If you go back and watch, I couldn't find the hype video to remember why I loved it so much. But I remember I couldn't find it on YouTube. But what I could find is the Eddie Guerrero promo that sits as part of it. And if you get a chance to watch a promo this week, go and watch Eddie Guerrero's promo before No Way Out 04 because it's utterly, utterly mind-blowingly good. So yeah, that's my top 3, Matt Burns. Now, normally this is where we go into our next segment, which is called Rebook This. But I told you last week, and I told the people at home, we're not doing Rebook This week. This week, stay tuned, because coming up next is Pre-Book This.
And guess what? Pad in my hand already with the pen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cheap Plugs with Matt Burns. And for once, I am going to say once again, please check out That Wrestling Show, where you can listen to them on Sundays at 7 p.m. on Black Country Radio Extra, where they talk all things wrestling. They are good friends of ours, and we do highly recommend you check them out. So please, for this week, cheap plugs, check out That Wrestling Show. And no, we're not on about the That 70s Show episode either. But as an additional cheap plug, we also recommend you check out United Wrestling Live, as they have got a phenomenal show happening on Friday the 29th of November called Hammer Down. It is happening in Abbey Holton Sports and Social Club. Doors open at 7 p.m. Bell at 7:30. Tickets only £6, and you can get your tickets online at united-wrestling.co.uk or call exclusively on the ticket hotline of 077615 39339. So do understand that you will be wanting to check out that wrestling show this Friday. It is all happening this Friday. United Wrestling Live. And that was this week's Cheap Plugs.
Who trusted these guys with the book? It's rebook this. Larry Scott, it's rebook this. Take a shot, it's rebook this. Rebook this.
Welcome back to The Burning Truth. And yes, this is not Rebook This. This is Pre-Book This. And this week, I'm going to set Matt Burns a challenge. I did let you know last week, didn't I, Matt? So you've had a full week with the book and the pen, being able to make notes and get ready for this special Pre-Book This. And I asked Matt Burns to pre-book what he thinks should happen when Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, returns to AEW to get revenge on the D-Riders. Take it away, Matt Burns.
Even though our intro is probably still saying rebook this, it isn't. It should be pre-book this. But come on, we can't change it. But anyway, it is what it is. We're sticking to it, almost like how we're sticking to the current storyline at the moment. Now, effectively, I feel as though at the moment Darby Allin's going to be challenging for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That should still go ahead. Should come to a head to World's End, but I feel right now at World's End it is going to be Jon Moxley, Christian Cage, Darby Allin, and Jay White. Now that's a good fatal four-way there.
So you think a four-way, yeah? Fatal four-way for the AEW World Championship at World's End.
At World's End. Almost like trying to bring Jon Moxley's world to an end of his takeover.
Yeah, I get that totally.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be the world end of AEW. And I feel that Moxley is going to get the win again with outsider interference, but I feel as though there could be some new members joining the D-Riders. I feel like Max Caster of the Acclaimed should be joining and literally severing his ties from the Acclaimed. So I'm sorry, he won't be saying "Scissor me, Daddy." He won't be, because even in his own, in supposedly his hometown, they thought they actually had some derogatory terms for him. But whoops, that's one way of getting hated in your own crowd, by throwing the mic. But anyway, that aside, I feel as though they are going to get more rampant, and I feel as though this time at World's End, just when you think, and I feel as though they're going to be bringing out Tony Khan in this one.
Oh, okay.
Literally set the same.
See, this is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Tony Khan.
I feel as though they're going to bring him out and set the saying, I want you to watch this world burn right now as they dismantle like the ring area, a bit like what happened with Nexus when they arrived.
Okay.
Right, and sit there saying, this shouldn't be here. This should be decimated. You've tried to strip me of this. You tried to get everybody to stop me, and it wasn't good enough. Well, you're not the only one with money and power anymore. No more. Unfortunately, you're stuck because you've been running a shoddy business tactic. You've actually tanked some of your own buy rates of the company, and they've just been bought out. Someone has now bought into your company and owns 50% of your company. And would you like to know who it is? And I'm sorry, I'm not going to reveal it all right now, because your world is just coming to an end.
Okay. So we know where... Well, anybody who knows you, Matt Burns, knows where you think this is going. What happens that week on Dynamite, I suppose, is the question.
We move over to Dynamite, and we have a mysterious figure popping up on the screen. It says there saying, I am the lead, he's sort of decreeing that he's in charge of the D-Riders. They've been actually carrying out my orders, my actions, and I think, Mox is to himself, and he is his own general, his own individual, and I let him run rampant because it is necessary. It's what's best for business, as you say. Which everybody was sitting there thinking, no, it can't be him. It can't be that individual. It can't be. And then we've got immediately others coming out to try and combat it. Sitting there arguing with him. We've got even Double J coming out as saying, "What are you doing here?" They think it's this individual. It's just there saying, what are you doing here? I know it's you. It's got to be you. It's got to be you. They're all sitting there thinking it's some mysterious person. It's like, and it's like, all will tell. All will be revealed. But yes, I have been involved with another wrestling company before. But all will be revealed, but not now, when the time is right. And we pretty much keep leading it down the rabbit hole of where's it going?
We're keeping them guessing.
Keeping them guessing. And eventually, we keep twisting who people's thoughts are. One week we think it's Eric Bischoff. Another week we think it's a certain bro. Yes, even that one.
Russo, your best mate.
Even Russo, we make them think it's Russo, right? Until we get to the next big event, which if I'm just trying to think which one it is, because we've got World's End, but then we've also got the mixed one, which is Wrestle Dynasty, which will be good. But I think that's more like the New Japan's version of Forbidden Door. So I feel as though that's going to be a bit more of a mix of that, but not focusing on the main one. I feel, and then straight after that, we've then got Grand Slam Australia.
Well, we've actually got, Grand Slam Australia. That's February, isn't it?
That's February, but I think they're just going to tease. They're going to say, I'm going to be revealing myself. Make it look like he's going to reveal himself. But then we get some Australian talent joining the D-Riders. Maybe even a certain family could be joining the D-Riders. The Don Callis family. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger. It's getting more vicious. They're taking over. They're actually reorganising the place. They're actually changing the brand. It looks like they are literally pulling back the tears of AEW and stripping it back to the bare bones. And then it will be finally announced at Revolution. Who is the man in charge? And yes, I did say man, because it is a man who it's going to be. We have him come down. A hoodie figure. Let's have him come down, and as you got Moxley sitting there smirking and smiling, ready for the big reveal, we pull back the hood, and it's immediately Vince Russo. I'm just joking. It's not.
Do you know what? I honestly thought you were going to say John Laurinaitis. People power.
I almost considered going down there. No, it's Mark Adamley, I say. And no, I'm just joking. No, it is none other than Shane McMahon.
Awesome.
Immediately. So they've literally stripped back all down to the bare bones, because he says this is now a revolution. This is AEW's revolution. We are bringing a new AEW. It isn't going to be all cuddly and friendly. It is you want to be AEW champion, you got to fight for it. But as Shane comes out and reveals himself at the same time, we then immediately have Shane introduce and hand to Moxley, because he has the case. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it opened. We haven't actually seen the AEW for a long time. But we actually find out what's actually in the case. We sit there thinking, well, everyone's assuming it would be the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, the original one. Unfortunately, it isn't. They've already discarded it. It has now been replaced by the brand new version of the AEW, which is more fitting for, the new era that they're bringing in. So brand new. So then we've got Mox sitting on top, peacocking, so they're saying, we're in charge, we're taking over, and everything. And we've literally got that all happening, and just when you think, Tony Khan has got no power, almost, it looks like they're leading down to the road, and we'll actually have the Revolution pay-per-view event, thinking, right, the main event being the D-Riders versus Team AEW. The only problem is, just as they were leading up, they ended up being short by one man. They're short by a man. No, Team AEW.
Oh, okay.
Because by then, I would have had Kenny Omega making his return.
Yeah.
The Young Bucks making their return.
All on the side of AEW.
All on the side of AEW.
The baby faces of the story.
Of course. And we're sitting there thinking, right, we've got that. And I would say, hell, throw in Orange Cassidy back in, keep him in there, because he is still the top guy there. Yeah. And who's going, and let's just say we had, I'm just trying to think who could we have?
Darby.
Yeah, Darby is there, but unfortunately he gets pretty much taken out. He gets taken out because, unfortunately, it is. And it's revenge for the car damage from the most recent one that to us right now, crashing the car. They crashed the car with, they returned the favour. The only difference was Darby was in the vehicle.
Yeah, took him out.
Took him out completely. And that's what I'm thinking, it's 5-on-4. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got nothing. You've got nothing. And just as you're saying that, it's like, really? I've got nothing? Are you forgetting somebody? Are you forgetting somebody? I believe you are forgetting about somebody. And immediately, and to this whole new revolution that you're bringing here, he would say no to it and want to bring back the AEW that we all love. The right AEW, and the only answer you'd say for the correct AEW, which is the real AEW, is yes. 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 For the final countdown to hit. Nice. And we have literally got Bryan Danielson coming down the aisle, eyes locked onto Moxley, effectively immediately. This is like their version, like a Survivor Series match, and immediately you've got Bryan Danielson literally run into the ring. He wants Mox immediately, and before anyone's even got any chance to even to get out, or even Mox to even get out, Bryan is all over him. So immediately the match has just started with Mox and Bryan starting off the match. Immediately, Bryan's literally beaten down, and the fight of them two spills out to the outside. The brawl that they have is absolutely charismatic, and we are talking. It is that charismatic. It ends up actually getting them both counted out from the brawl for this match. So effectively, immediately, we know there's some deep troubles here, some deep troubles, because the supposed the D Riders are in absolute chaos because their leader's just been been eliminated by Bryan Danielson, who's literally sacrificed himself to get rid of the leader straight out. So then we go back and forth eventually, and we get down to probably, I'd say, 2-on-1. And the so far, I'm going to say the sole survivor at the moment for the AEW side is Orange Cassidy. And on the opposite side, we've got Wheeler Yuta and Claudio. And just immediately then, they're fighting back, and all of a sudden, we see almost like the actual brainwashing is wearing off on Yuta. You're sitting there thinking, is it wearing off? What's going on here? Is it really wearing off? And you can see Claudio barking orders at Yuta, and you can almost see Orange almost sitting there thinking, is this real or is this him faking it? Is it real? I've been bitten. I've been bitten before. And immediately, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have a accidental hit from Wheeler Yuta, thinking he's going to hit Orange Cassidy, but he inadvertently hits Claudio, inadvertently costing his anticipation in the match. And you sit there and think it's Yuta and Orange Cassidy in the middle of the ring. And just as you sit there and you think, what's going on here? What's going on here? Is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? It looks like he's about to return back to Orange Cassidy. It looks like he's going to return, like he's about to hug it out with him. But unfortunately, Orange Cassidy wasn't paying attention to Claudio, who had actually gone out and grabbed a steel chair and blasted him in the back immediately. And just then, you see Wheeler Yuta looking at Claudio, almost as if he's shocked, but at the same time, just turns it again into that smirk and preys upon Orange Cassidy for the 1, 2, 3 D-Riders win, which means
Damn the D-Riders.
Which means Shane McMahon is in control.
I do like that bit.
Yeah, I thought you might have that. Now, we're not done with the show yet.
Oh, okay.
We're not done here. The cameras catch up where Mox and Brian are literally, they're brawling out literally outside the arena. They're in the streets. We've got security trying to separate them. Eventually, we end up having police coming into it and having to separate them and take them off into separate cells. So straight away, it is that intense. The police have had to step in immediately. They've been arrested. So effectively, immediately, we get to Dynamite.
Yeah.
And we have Shane McMahon and they're saying, yes, both of them were arrested, which is much to my anger because my AEW World Champion should be here. And he is, because I have bailed him out. He has used his money to bail Moxley out. As for Brian, he's the cause of this, and he can stay in there. He can stay in that. He can stay in Rotter for a week. He caused assault. He should be sued.
I like that.
What, you like that? I thought you might. So then immediately we've then got Mox running a tear still again. Now for me, I feel from here we're going to have it lead up to the end of the show. Just when he's about to Pillmanize, they finally decide they've had enough of Orange Cassidy, of his trying to get Wheeler Yuta. They've had enough. They plan to Pillmanize him, and we're not talking his hand. We're talking treat him like Chuck. What happened to him? Put it round his neck.
Yeah.
Just as they're about to stamp on it, final countdown hits again. Much to the confusion of the D-Riders. There's no way he's here. There's no way he's here. And they all look at the ramp. They don't see him coming in from the crowd with his own steel chair to blast Mox in the back and clear out the ring immediately. He's swinging for the fences. He frees Orange Cassidy. Effectively immediately. It's like, and I was like, how's he here? How is he here? To find out, we've got to wait until the next show, Collision.
Yeah.
At Collision, we then get an interview where Brian gets asked, how did you get back? How were you able to, what happened? It's like, he just goes, I didn't have the funds to get myself out. However, the AEW locker room all banded together and helped pay for my bail.
Cool.
To get me there. And I'm so glad they did, because if I wasn't there, Orange Cassidy could have been in the same boat.
Yeah.
He could have been Pillmanized. And that is not cool. That is not great. That is unacceptable. He came at you by himself, and you just, Orange Cassidy took you on one-on-one for yourself, but you can't. You can't seem to get that through your head. You've got to keep coming at us. Fine. How about right now, me and Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta tag team match. If we win, we both get the matches that we want. One-on-one, no interruptions. As in, no Death Riders on either match. If Orange Cassidy wins, he gets Wheeler Yuta. If I win, I get my match against you, Moxley, for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. If we lose, I fully retire.
I like that.
I fully retire. And I will be gone.
I like that a lot.
We get to the tag match. It's going back and forth. We still having interference. It's pandemonium. The referee can't control it.
It's pandemonium.
Pretty much. However, just when you think the D-Riders is going to win, we see that blip on Wheeler Yuta come into play again.
All right, okay, so we're back to this. This confusion sort of, is it, will he, won't he?
And you've got Moxley looking at us saying, they're not going to fall for it this time.
Yeah.
Right? But by this time, while he's now saying he's not going to fall for it this time, what he hasn't taken into consideration, he is actually considering it. He is actually considering, has he been a bad person?
Yeah.
And effectively, immediately, while Mox is sitting there checking over, just double checking, like, why are you trying to play this game? He's not focusing on his actual opponent, which is none other than Bryan Danielson and Orange Cassidy, who managed to get the roll-up win. A sneaky roll-up win to literally get it, because in Mox's confusion, because he's thinking, what the... Immediately straight after, you've got Mox, who's absolutely livid. He is tirading. He's like, get him out of here now. I don't want to see his face until Revolution. I want him to be properly programmed, properly trained. You make sure he doesn't come out until Revolution, when he has his match against Orange Cassidy. And if he isn't programmed to kill, we're ending him before he even gets there.
Yeah.
So they pretty much kidnap Wheeler Yuta and send him off to parts unknown. Which then, at the time, will have little segments of Orange Cassidy trying to find where they got him locked up. As for Bryan Danielson, he is tirade. He's literally cutting promo. Stop ducking me. You know you owe me that championship. Yeah. And there's only one place I want it at. Dynasty.
Nice.
So
Dynasty's like, when's that one normally on?
That is normally April.
Oh, okay.
So around about close to WrestleMania time?
Yeah. And that's when you would do, that's then what you would do, Daniel Bryan versus John Moxley. Bryan Danielson versus John Moxley.
Yes, but it might not go the way you think.
Okay.
It may not go the way you think. And during that match, we'll have it go back and forth. Just when you think Bryan is going to get the win, he somehow still gets robbed. He gets robbed by Shane himself.
Oh, okay.
Because the rule was no D-Riders.
And he's not a D-Rider.
He's not a D-Rider. Shane costs Bryan Danielson the match. Because he says, I'm sick of you sitting there thinking you run the business. Right? It's not.
Yeah.
This is it. One final push. Bryan Danielson is literally... and Shane literally says, you're suspended without pay.
Right.
So each week then, we've got Bryan Danielson invading sort of AEW, trying to get at Moxley each week, day in, day out. And it gets to the point where Shane just goes, I'm sick to death. I should have a restraining order, but you probably break that too. What will it take to get rid of you permanently? What's the event after Dynasty?
All In.
Double or Nothing.
Oh, Double or Nothing. Okay, yeah.
And this is where almost you could say going all in could be a little bit, but he goes, right, this is my last, this is Double or Nothing. This is, you know what? I'm sick to death of this. I'm sick to death of Shane McMahon being in charge right now. I want you gone. But at the same time, I also want that AEW championship. But you want me gone so badly. Well, why don't we do Double or Nothing?
Nice.
I lose. I am effectively gone. I will never wrestle again. And I don't mean wrestle as in I'm leaving AEW. I will permanently be gone from wrestling. That means any other promotions cannot actually cannot put me on a contract at all. Yeah. I will be done.
Yeah.
But if I win, Tony Khan's got to have his power back in charge of AEW, and the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in my possession.
Okay.
Do you accept the terms? Do you accept the terms?
Nice.
On one condition.
Ooh.
D-Riders rule match.
Which is?
Essentially, anything and everything. We are talking anything can go. We are talking, but the difference is, with this match, you can't pin them. You've got to knock them out. You've got to actually, no rules. You've got to beat your opponent to a pulp that they can't answer the call. They can't answer. So it's basically like a last man standing.
Yeah.
But a bit more weaponized and everything. But it's like their own version. You can't. You've either got to knock them out or you've got to break them.
Yeah.
As in make them tap out. They're the only two ways. Pinfalls don't count. Which then immediately you got Mox who's sitting there chinning. He's glad. He's literally happy at this. And Bryan just goes, deal. Done. He's accepted the terms.
Must better be some match, let me tell you.
Yeah. This match, when it comes to it, is pretty much it goes anywhere. But the difference is, in most other matches, with it being a last man standing and everything, we're going to have this going anywhere we want. We're going to have this going through whatever area they're in, whatever stadium they're at. It's going to be literally all over the place. The cameras are going to find it difficult to follow them. The crowd are going to be sitting there thinking, what's going on here? But eventually, it'll all come back down to the ring. Eventually. And we will eventually finally get it where steel chairs involved. Mox is literally thinking, he's about, he thinks, I've had enough of this. He brings something back that literally almost ended Brian's career. Well, almost ended his life. He brings the bag. He almost brings the bag and you think he's going to do it. Nope. Brian cuts him off. He eventually, at one point, borrows something from Justin Roberts. Yep. He literally borrows the Dabba Yappa's tie.
Nice.
And immediately puts him in to his version, or, a bit like what he did to the Dabba Yappa in WWE as part of Nexus. Yeah. He's got it locked in. And you've got Moxley, literally, he's choking. He isn't going to tap out. He isn't going to tap out. He daren't tap out. So he turns it back over. He starts stomping on Moxley's head. He's literally stomping on him to no end. He pulls back, and immediately, just when you think he's going to tap out, Moxley refuses to tap out because he feels as though he can beat the 10 count. The only problem is, Moxley doesn't beat the 10 count and loses the AEW World Heavyweight Championship to Bryan Danielson. And Shane McMahon is gutted over it.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. He stands on top with Tony Khan literally pretty much in tears at the backstage. He hasn't come out. He hasn't come out because he isn't still in the spotlight like others have in the past. The AEW locker room instead comes out immediately to parade Bryan Danielson on the hard-fought victory over the D-Riders.
Nice. Very good, Matt Burns.
And that's where I'm going to say end of part 1.
Yeah, I like that, Matt Burns. Very, very good. I was teetering between 4 and 5 bangers there, and I'm going to give you 4, and I'm going to tell you for why. Because the Wheeler Yuta bit, just sort of, I just wasn't sure, but the rest of it, absolutely fabulous. Going through all the different pay-per-views and getting to that point where they finally have the one-on-one match and get the call back to the carrier bag for life and the necktie. Yeah, great beats in that story. And taking your time with revealing Shane McMahon as well. At the point where everybody knows it is Shane McMahon, but we're still keeping him holding on. Yeah, fabulous, Matt Burns. Well done. Absolutely fabulous.
I'm happy with that. And,
absolutely fabulous.
4 out of 5 on a pre-book?
Yeah.
First one? Yes!
How do you think Matt Burns did? Get it in the comments below if you're on YouTube, or you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, or wherever you find this podcast. Leave a review. Let us know what you thought of Matt Burns' pre-book this.
Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode of The Burning Truth Live. Thanks so much for joining me and Scott today. We hope you have had as much fun listening as we have had recording.
If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, and on Facebook, The Burning Truth. You can listen to all our episodes and our NXT live reaction videos on the YouTube at The Burning Truth 251, and you can find us on TikTok at The Burning Truth 251. Got any questions or ideas? Drop us an email at info@theburningtruthuk.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really helps, and help us spread the word by sharing this podcast or video wherever you get your podcasts, and check out our website theburningtruthuk.com for more updates.
And until next time, stay hyped, enjoy the wrestling, and DFTBA. And in case you know what it means don't forget to be awesome.
Excelsior.
Psst, it's Scott. Did you rate and review the podcast yet? Cheers.